Let's break it down. I'm Imran, a Middle East-based analyst, and the reported capture of Venezuela's Nicolás Maduro isn't only a Venezuela story, it's a China story too. Because for the last 2 decades, Beijing has treated Venezuela as a flagship partner in Latin America. Big loans, big oil-linked deals, and a political relationship that signaled, we can work with countries the West isolates. Now, after the explosions reported in Caracas and President Trump's claim that the US took Maduro and his wife out of the country, China has a sudden problem. Its best-known partner in the region could be replaced overnight, and China didn't control the timeline. Here's why this threatens China's ambitions in Latin America. First, the money. China's policy banks and state-linked lenders have provided Venezuela with major financing over the years, often tied to oil. If leadership changes, repayment terms, project contracts, and access to energy and mining projects can all be reopened. Even if a new government wants stability, it may still review old agreements, renegotiate, or pause parts of the relationship while it resets foreign policy. Second, credibility. China has been selling a message to many developing countries. We are a steady partner. We don't interfere. We plan long term. But a dramatic US action in a country where China has real exposure makes Beijing look less like a guaranteed backer and more like an investor that can be surprised and sidelined. Third, the regional signal. Latin American governments are watching and asking a practical question. If Washington is willing to act directly in Venezuela, what does that mean for the rest of the hemisphere? Some leaders may move closer to the US for protection. Others may diversify even harder to avoid dependence on any single power. Either way, it complicates China's push to expand influence through trade, infrastructure, and diplomacy. So how is Beijing reacting? Publicly, China has condemned the operation and called for Maduro's release, framing it as a sovereignty issue. But behind the scenes, China is also likely doing what it always does in high-risk moments: protect interests first. That means mapping financial exposure, assessing risks to Chinese companies on the ground, and preparing to deal with whoever holds authority next. Because investments are protected by outcomes, not speeches. And there's an even bigger strategic layer. Taiwan. Beijing worries about precedent. If the world gets used to the idea that a major power can forcibly remove a government it labels illegitimate, then every future crisis becomes more dangerous, including around China's own red lines. My takeaway: Venezuela is not the largest piece of China's global economy, but it is a loud symbol of China's reach in the Western Hemisphere. If that symbol weakens, China's Latin America strategy doesn't end, but it becomes more cautious, more transactional, and more contested. If you want calm, simple breakdowns of fast-moving geopolitics, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, does this push Latin America closer to the US or accelerate a more multipolar region?